I mean, it's raining really hard, but that's all right. For about a year and a half, we've been putting our goats in this shack. Now, they don't spend a lot of time in there, but when it gets cold or rainy, they go hide out in there. And it's really small. I think it's about 7 by 7. It was made using pallets, which we built with a lot of pallets when we first got here because we didn't have our sawmill yet and lumber was really expensive. So any pallets we found, we would put them to good use. And the roof was made from the leftovers from that trailer we tore down our first year here. And it's held. I mean, it takes a beating. It keeps the rain off and keeps the snow off and has worked really well, but it's time to upgrade. We have had a whole bunch of goats in there, a whole bunch of kids born in there, and so it has served its purpose and it's time to move on. So today we're starting work on a new goat shelter. It's going to be much bigger. It's going to be 16 by 16, and it's going to have 4 separate stalls in it for our goats. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be inside this new goat area that we just built, and we're ready to get to work. Every square inch of this property is sloped, which can be good for getting water away from stuff, but it's also kind of a hassle when it's time to build. Now, there's 2 ways to level out a pad like this. This area has about a 16-inch drop from one side to the other. We can dig out the high side and build up the low side and make a nice flat pad, but that's kind of a lot of earthwork, and I don't really want to do that for a goat barn. And so instead what we've decided to do is build on poles, like a kind of pole building style, and that allows us to put the poles in the ground and then just level out the actual girts and the building. Now what that means is the building itself is going to have a bit of a slope to it, and the one side is going to be slightly taller than the other side, but the roof is going to be flat and all the stuff inside is going to be level. These post bases are a little bit weird. I've designed these as like a scarf joint. We wanted to put something in the ground that was a little bit more rot resistant than the fir that we typically mill. So we're using cedar, but cedar is expensive and I am cheap. And so instead what we did is we had some short cedar logs, 5-6 feet logs. And so we cut those into some 6x6s, and we're going to put 4x4 posts on top of that. So the way that'll work is the 4x4 post will be cut out of fir because we have a ton of fir. And we're going to put that in here, and it's going to come up and go across an inch and then come up again. So it'll be flush on the outsides of the building. That's why when you look around, they're all pointing a different direction, but they're going to be flush on the outside of the building to attach our girts, and then that helps me put wood in the ground that's a little more rot resistant and cheaper wood on the top part of the post. Okay, here we are. This is maybe day 3 of the project. I've really been doing it almost completely by myself, except for the little kids have come and help drive some screws and things like that. And I'm making good progress, but I can't find my tools. One of the impact drivers, I can hear it up in the woods working on the cabin deck. And one of the impact drivers is down at the goat shed building it into a fort. Some of the kids are using it for that. And the drill that I could use to put in some screws, I think it's being used down at my other son's workshop that he just finished building. And so I don't have a good way to drive a screw. And that's really frustrating. But in the right perspective, it's kind of a positive thing. 3 years ago, when we started this channel and this homesteading journey, I made a video, probably about a third or fourth video on the channel, and it was about seeing things differently. And that was inspired by a quote that I heard, which was, if you want to make small changes, change the way you do things. If you want to make major changes, change the way you see things. And I think about that all the time. And so right now what I'm doing is choosing to see this as a positive. Now, positive is, there's a young man in the woods working on his cabin. There's a young man over here working on his workshop. And there's a young man over here who is working on building a fort for his sisters. They are using all my tools, but those are also the hands that are going to care for this property after I'm gone. So the fact that they're working on their own assignments and their own initiatives right now is awesome. I actually didn't set them to any of that work today. They're just doing it because it's interesting and it's a Friday and it's a good day to pick off some of those hobbies. So that's my perspective. I'm going to go find one of those drills because this project has a higher priority than some of those projects. But for the time being, it's a good feeling. Well, it's about day 5, I think, on the goat barn build. We've got a few rafters up and it's starting to take shape. It is raining, and not just like it sounds like rain when you're under a tin roof, but you go outside and it's just barely sprinkling. It's actually raining. But we have learned in northern Idaho, and I'm sure it's the truth in many places, that if you don't work in the rain, you don't work. And so we're out here, ironically, trying to make a dry place for our goats to live and sleep, and we gotta just keep pushing through. This is gonna get a metal roof, but not today. It's gonna get a tarp today. Okay, welcome back. It's day 7 on the goat barn. We are getting pretty close to being done. We put a roof on, but we didn't video because it was snowing and it was slippery, and I really didn't want to hold a camera while doing it. We always tend to miss the roofing stuff on video because, well, it's not a good time to be holding a camera. But anyway, we got pretty nearly done. We ran out of boards, so we're gonna go back to the mill this afternoon, cut some more boards, but this is it. This is what it's gonna look like. Thank you for coming along on our journey. Really appreciate it. We'll post when we're completely done, do a little walkthrough. Thanks for watching. Now I've set a string line at the very top between these two center ridges, but I can't see the bubble because it's so high, and I can't reach it because I don't have a ladder. Look at you here, and you have a selfie stick. Here we go. How'd that look? You're gonna know before I do. Stop and play.